Let us feel the presence of our Almighty Creator. A prayer for my intellect. Lord, you are the source of all life, all truth, and all beauty. I pray to you today with all my heart for my intelligence. This light in me, this plant which demands years of care, this thing in me, mysterious and moving. This activity which sometimes bounds up, sometimes slows down, which sometimes lifts me up with enthusiasm and sometimes exasperates me. I pray for this thing which runs after ideas, symbols, and numbers. This thing which all of a sudden has penetrated inside the thought of another and melts with it like the fusion of two lights. A fusion which bring about warmth and light. I pray to you for my mind as you are the supreme intelligence which penetrates, illuminates, and embraces all our intelligences. Lord, help make my intelligence amenable to all truths, able to understand the thoughts of others. Give to me the wisdom to know the meaning and purpose of my life and learning. So that my knowledge, understanding, and skills may help in some little ways to make this world a better place for your greater glory. In the silence of our hearts, let us pray for our personal intentions. Amen. Hi there! Thank you for clicking on this video. How are you today? I hope you're having a good day. Rest assured, I will be of great assistance and I will make our class as lively as possible. Are you ready to learn something new today? Very good. So let's get started. Good morning, class. Our topic for today is all about social science disciplines, history, methods, and areas of inquiry. At the end of the lesson, the students will be able to explain the major events and its contribution that led to the emergence of the social science disciplines. Before we start with our lesson for today, please watch this video showing how the meaning of social science changes depending on the field of specialization or the discipline used in studying and analyzing the subject. This video is created and uploaded by Sumo Publishing.
All right. If we're all settled, yes? Well, good. Welcome. We are the Social Science Department. Now I'll get right to it. The question on everyone's mind, just what the heck is social science? Well, let me try to explain. Social, as in society, as in human beings. Science, as in the facts, the systematic study of a thing, the pursuit of its true nature. We seek to understand the nature of people and society. What does it mean to be human? What defines a person? Is it history? Is it ancestry? How has he worked, struggled, thrived?
In his environment.
Sorry?
In his environment. Did he live on a mountain or in the desert or near the sea, in the Arctic? Ancestry is important, but location is paramount.
That's all very fascinating, but I have a question. What is this person like? Is it a man or a woman? What's her race? What does he or she do?
Well, profession relies greatly on geography. The natural resources that exist here.
Proximity to natural resources is fine, but what about proximity to other people? The sociological element is undeniable. What happens when he feels the influence of other human beings? Then, how will he behave? What will be expected of him? Will he fulfill these expectations? Now it's a collection of people. It's a town or a city. It's a community.
Community. But who's in charge? Whoa. We need structure. Leaders.
Hey everybody, check me out.
Several leaders if we can. Oh, that's better. See, when we organize, we give our man a voice, an identity within his society. This is where his ancestry and his geography and his social interaction come together. The political realm.
But is the true nature of man witnessed only in his interaction with the world around him? I ask you, where do his actions begin? With a thought. And where do his thoughts originate? The brain, madam, the brain. Guten Doctrine, is it only his experience in society that informs him and shapes him? Or is he born this way? Every cell and synapse forming just so, making him the man he is. He is interactive, sure, buzzing around a busy bee in the hive of society, sure. But his inner being, his motivations, his thoughts, his feelings, his hurt, his joy, this will be largely unknown unless, mein Doctrine, we study his psychology.
Well, very intriguing, Dr. Psych. Thank you. So, as you can see, we social scientists cover a wide range of topics. But we all agree on one thing: people and the societies in which they live are a fascinating study.
This video defines a broad spectrum discipline of social science. Sumos video explains the questions each academic discipline seeks to answer and how each comes together within our society. What are the different disciplines in the social sciences and what are their key contents, areas of inquiry, and methodologies? Social science studies the historical, cultural, sociological, psychological, and the political forces that shape the actions of individuals and their impact on society. The different disciplines under the social sciences all help in providing a better understanding and appreciation of the complex issues that face society. The following are the disciplines or branches in the social sciences: anthropology, economics, geography. History, linguistics, political science. Psychology, sociology, and demography. Let's start with anthropology. Anthropology is the study of ancient societies and their cultural traditions. Anthropology came from the Greek word anthropos, meaning humankind, and logos, meaning the study. In studying culture, anthropologists investigate the people's language, their values, technologies, and even how they group themselves. Anthropology is also related to the other disciplines of the social sciences. An examination of the cultural practices of different groups and communities require knowledge of the history of the area where the people live. There is also a need for familiarity with the physical environment, the group's settlement patterns, the organization of their family life, their system of government, and so on and so forth. This means that for an anthropological study to be comprehensive, it should take into account the contributions of other social science disciplines. Anthropology has two broad fields: physical or biological anthropology and cultural anthropology. Physical anthropology, which is also called biological anthropology, studies the biological evolution of man. Also provides explanations on the reason behind the biological variations among contemporary human population. Cultural anthropology, on the other hand, investigates and seeks to understand the cultural features of societies. Cultural anthropology is further divided into three sub-branches: archaeology, anthropological linguistics, and ethnology. Archaeology seeks to reconstruct the past life of ancient societies, trace the cultural changes that took place, and the reason behind the changes. While it may appear that archaeology is similar with history, it is different in the sense that history can only study societies that have left written records. Archaeologists reconstruct the past using the fossil remains of human culture. Anthropological linguistics involves the study of language in societies or communities where language may or may not be written. It is also concerned with the emergence of languages, the divergence of languages, and the changes in the languages across time. While archaeology and anthropological linguistics mostly use fragmentary of the past culture, ethnology uses data gathered through observations and interviews with living people. Ethnologists study marriage customs, kinship patterns, economic systems, and religious rites of cultural groups and compare it with the way of life of contemporary societies. It is during the period of enlightenment in the 18th century that anthropology came of age. The period saw the flourishing of philosophy and sciences, and people sought greater freedom from the church. Some noteworthy works are The New Science by Giambattista Vico and The Spirit of Laws by Baron de Montesquieu. The next branch or discipline in the social sciences is economics. Economics is the study of efficient allocation of scarce resources in order to satisfy unlimited human needs and wants. The word economics came from two Greek words: oikos, meaning home, and nomos, meaning management. A family faces the challenge of managing their limited income to satisfy the needs and wants of its members. The same is true with society as a whole. Even if we combine all of the world's resources, it will never be enough to cover all humankind's desires and needs, which by nature is infinite. This is why a careful study on the subject must be done in order to mitigate the impact of unimbalance and inequity in resource allocation. The most famous work of Adam Smith, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations, contributed to the theory of price formation, the relationship of market outcomes and public interest, the role of state in the economy, and the sources of economic growth. The next discipline or branch in the social science is geography. Geography studies the interaction between the natural environment and people living in it. It acts as a bridge between natural science and social science. Geography comes from two Greek words, geo meaning earth and graphos meaning charting or graphing. This social science discipline studies where things are on earth, explains why they are there, and their relationships to other people, places, and things. The ancient people have been dabbling with geography even before the term was invented. The Babylonians were able to draw a map that clearly identifies their location in Mesopotamia. Homer's Iliad and Odyssey also contain a lot of geographical information, even though they are fictional works. The pioneer in the field of geography is Eratosthenes of Cyrene, who is the head of the Great Library at Alexandria. He is also considered as the father of geography, a distinction given for having coined the term. He wrote the first scholarly treatise on the topic, a three-book volume Geographica. The book is a compilation of data accumulated in the previous 3 centuries about the nature of the surface of the earth, with special attention to the inhabited portions and the people living in it. The book also includes topics on the depth of the sea, climate, and the geological history on the earth. The next disciplinary branch in the social sciences is history. History is traditionally regarded as the study of the recorded past. It comes from the Greek noun historia, meaning learning. As used by the Greek philosopher Aristotle, history meant a systematic account of a set of natural phenomena, whether or not chronological ordering was a factor in the account. In employing the historical method, credit goes to Herodotus of Halicarnassus. He wrote about the Greek wars against Persia during the third decade of the 5th century BC. His narrative is entitled The Histories. Herodotus of Halicarnassus is a product of Greece's Hellenic Age, which is the golden age of Greece. Succeeding and improving on the writing techniques of Herodotus is another Greek historian, Thucydides. He wrote about the history of the Peloponnesian War in the 5th century BC. Aside from scrupulously writing the content, his narrative includes how his materials were gathered and the tests he used to separate fact from fiction. Thucydides intended his writing to have instructional importance as a guide to action in the future. We will now proceed with the next discipline or branch in the social science, which is linguistics. Linguistics came from the Latin word lingua, meaning language. The discipline studies the nature of language through an examination of the formal properties of the natural language, grammar, and the process of language acquisition. Language plays an important role in both cognition and culture of society. Among the things that linguists study are the following: phonetics, phonology, morphology. Phonetics is the study of speech sounds. It examines how the sounds are made and identifies its properties. Language cannot have an unstructured set of sounds. Sounds should be categorized in an orderly manner. The study of speech sound pattern is called phonology. It identifies what sounds are there and the categories these speech sounds fall under. An orderly combination of speech sounds from words and words need to be structured in order to convey meaning. The organized collection of words makes up part of a language. Morphology, on the other hand, is the study of how words are categorized or formed. The linguists also study the following: syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. Syntax is the study of how words are combined to form a sentence. In order to have meaning, the sentences or phrases have to mirror the conditions it pertains to in the world. Understanding language means knowing what the world has to look like in order for the sentence to be true. Semantics is the study of meaning making. People can absolutely interpret words differently and draw different meanings from them. Pragmatics, meanwhile, is the study of the language context. It is not enough that the correct meaning of the phrase or sentence is used. You must also know the proper way to convey it. The next discipline or branch in the social sciences is political science. Political science is the study of politics, power, and government. The word politics comes from the Greek word politeia, or a person who participates in the polis. Engagement in the polis means taking part in its decision making, which normally takes place in the agora, or the marketplace where new laws are passed or disseminated under the scrutiny of the entire community. It has to be noted, though, that the engagement in the political decision making in the polis is only limited to Greek men. Politics is the process of using power in the government, while power is the means for the government to rule the people. Government is the authority or the bureaucracy that provides the system of rule over its territory and for its people. Aristotle's book entitled Politics is considered a pioneer in the field of political inquiry. It delves on the topic of government and the leaders behind it, such as kings and statesmen. It also talks about the concept of justice and slavery. The book makes the connection between the happiness and virtue of the political community to the people's participation in politics. His analysis on the cause of revolution and what prevents it have been a source of inspiration to other political thinkers like John Locke and John Stuart Mill. John Locke, his known work Two Treatises of Government, discusses the concept of representative government and the people's right to revolution. John Stuart Mill also wrote on the topic of representative government with his book Considerations on Representative Government. Political science as an academic discipline separate from history was only established after the Second World War in American universities as well as in the number of European universities. Even in Central and Eastern Europe, it was only after the decline of the socialist regime in the 1990s and only under the newly installed democratic regimes when political science as a discipline was developed. Let us proceed with psychology. Psychology is in the interest of the society to understand how its people think and why they behave in a certain way. This is where psychology comes in. It is the scientific study of behavior and mental processes. These include the physical state and the mental state and how this all relates to the environment of the individual. It comes from two Greek words, psyche meaning soul or spirit, and logos meaning study. The German psychologist Wilhelm Wundt is considered as the father of modern psychology. His major contribution to the field is the principles of physiological psychology. He is credited for being the first in the movement to make psychology as a science. He also conducted the first true experimental laboratory in psychology. In his lifetime, he was able to conduct on a wide array of topics, which include spiritualism, ethics, animal physiology, and even poisons. The next discipline or branch in the social sciences is sociology. It is the systematic study of human society. It comes from the Latin word socius, meaning friend or companion, and the Greek word logos, meaning study. Sociology studies how people relate to each other and how they work as a whole in the larger society. We begin to think sociologically when we realize how the general categories into which we fall shape our particular life experiences. Social rules of behavior, societal expectations, and norms guide an individual's actions, thoughts, and feelings. Sociology was born as a result of powerful and complex economic and social forces. The Industrial Revolution created massive changes not just in the field of technology and in the way goods are manufactured, but also in the work and living pattern of the people. Factory life pulled people away from their homes, changed their work schedules, and weakened their family ties. It has also drawn more people to the cities, causing problems associated with urbanization. The new issues that confronted people at that time required a new way of thinking. It was the French social thinker Auguste Comte who coined the word sociology in 1838 to encapsulate the idea of improving society by understanding how it operates. The last discipline or branch in the social sciences is demography. Demography is the study of human population. It comes from two ancient Greek words, demos meaning the people and graphos meaning charting or mapping. The discipline also studies how people move from place to place. The main sources of data are census and other vital statistics. Some basic demographic concepts include the following: fertility, mortality, migration, and population growth. The study of human population begins with how many people are born. Fertility is the incidence of childbearing in a country's population. This is measured using crude birth rate or the number of live births for every 1,000 people in a population. Population is also affected by mortality, or the incidence of death in a country's population. Mortality is measured using crude death rate, or the number of deaths for every 1,000 people in a population. Another factor that affects population size is migration. This is the movement of people in and out of a particular territory. Population growth rate is simply the difference between the crude birth rate and the crude death rate. One of the familiar names in this field and who has already been mentioned in the subtopic economics is Thomas Malthus. The discipline economics highlighted in his book An Essay on the Principle of Population, its main area of inquiry, which is scarcity of resources. Demography highlights its main area of inquiry, which is population growth rate, and which Malthus believes to be growing in a geometric progression. Let's have the core values of grace. Today, I would like to use respectful as one of the core values of grace. We tend to forget that our experiences stem from our social location, our age, social class, upbringing, religious beliefs, education, and the political ideologies rife in our society. As such, what is common sense to us might not be so to other people. Experience and knowledge are not necessarily the same for everyone. Those who do not share in our social location, who do not belong to our social class, culture, region, or country, would have their own versions of common sense. A poor Muslim female living in a war-torn area, for example, would be experiencing life in a completely different way from a poor Catholic female in an urban area. These experiences would diverge even more once social class is added to the equation. Rich people and poor people define the world in often conflicting ways despite belonging to the same country. The danger then of thinking that our experience of the world is enough to explain social life is that it ignores other social realities. What we know as common ways of thinking are in fact reflections of the values, beliefs, and ideologies of the dominant groups in society. Common sense privileges the knowledge of the dominant groups while excluding and dismissing the experiences and forms of knowledge of the non-dominant groups. The disciplines of anthropology, economics, history, geography, political science, psychology, sociology, and demography heighten our understanding of social, economic, and political worlds. There is much to gain from studying the social sciences. More importantly, these disciplines help us develop the ability to reflect on our biases and beliefs, and link this to the broader structures that engender them. The social sciences are disciplines that invite an exploration of other ways of seeing, of taking into consideration other experiences, and of looking at things from different perspectives in order to arrive at a deeper analysis of why things happen the way they do. As such, we can be more inclusive and informed in making contributions to social change and the betterment of society. The disciplines in the social sciences are fields of study that emerge as responses to societal changes at different historical junctions and examine the different facets of society and individual behavior. Please accomplish the following activities for this week. You can copy and answer this on a one whole sheet of paper. Always refer to your SDLP for your daily learning activities. For your written work, and for your performance test. This is the rubric for your performance test. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned a lot today. May God bless you and your family. Let's hope and pray that this pandemic will end soon. Always be a blessing and a gift to those around you. And just to be kind even when others aren't kind to you. Bye!